Welcome to another part, fifth part of my testimonial of this connection that I had and my experiences with the Willa. And yeah, yesterday I wanted to record this, but I was not sure why I was procrastinating. But today, when I started to write down that story, it was really intense, and I several times even walked away from writing it down because it was really intense and I didn't want to. So in a few seconds I sit down again, but it was just, some part of me that needs to heal through this was trying to pull me away from it. So I realized also today that this is the reason why I also have to post it and publish it, because otherwise I wouldn't give myself this permission to heal through telling this story and processing it this way. That I have to have some more external reason, not doing it for myself, but also in some way for others maybe. And telling it to someone else, it helps me. So this part is going to be about September 2016. So I finished for the part when I was saying that I realized that Willa was that one in my dreams, those quite intense and intimate dreams. And I was shocked in that moment, and I wanted to know why she was so much into trying to connect with me or working with me, why she put so much effort in it. So I was asking her, and because I was already in not very stable state, I knew that I needed to calm down a little bit. So I was breathing a few times and calming myself down that way, and then download hit me. It contained a lot of emotion that was filled with her love and intensity, and also some kind of seriousness, like that she means it. And there was also information that I translated through my understanding that she is other version of Shayla, and that was it, nothing else really. And that was the reason or only part that I needed, and at the time to trigger me to open up more. But really, it was quite enough in that moment, because when I got that and realized that they are in a way like one being, one same being in a certain way, it split my energy of love in my heart and myself, that it felt even painful in, well, not in a physical way, but in emotional way. And I felt a lot of pain inside of me, having them split. I opened up to a lot of understanding of my connection with Shayla and depth also, and Willa was still, and at the time, kind of like just my girlfriend or someone who's just interested in me or something in that sense, like a toy or whatever. So when I realized this and merged them in some way, I had to merge them because it was so painful. So I realized that Shayla is inside of her in some way too. And it made also a lot of sense what I was feeling just few days before. I merged them into one being, and then I experienced this blending of hearts and love energy of our hearts and souls in some way, and I saw us as a triangle of one energy, like we were 3 points in that triangle, but in the middle was one energy that was in me, the same love or energy of love that was inside of me, inside of my soul, was the same energy inside Shayla that I already knew at the time. But then it was also in Willa, and we created this one field of the same energy, and that blended me together and melted that part of me that I felt like torn apart or split apart, and that in some way healed me in that moment. So I sit in that energy for a while, for a few minutes, and then my mind kicked in, and I started to think about the connections that Willa have with this other channeler and other entity there, and also plus my feelings about myself and my role as a channeler. Well, this triggered even more panic in me, because I was seeing myself in some similar ways as this other channeler, or the similar role. So this kind of really triggered me, and I started to go into panic mode, and I wanted to know more immediately. But I knew that, of course, it was not the right time for me to get it, and I pushed it this time to smoke a weed. I was not guided, and I even felt that it will not work this time, definitely, because I am not stable. So I did it, and it rather put me into sleep. And in that sleep, I was dreaming about again this channeler, in that one dream that I had. But this time he was channeling again this other entity, male entity, and he had open eyes and he was staring at me. I didn't hear any word he was saying, but I was in some kind of like a hypnotic state. It was almost like casting some spell on me and saying these things into my eyes, really hypnotizing without blinking, the channeler. Then when I woke up, after a few moments, I opened Facebook, and the first post that I saw, that's really interesting, was the post that there will be channeling of that person in a close area to me. And, before it was just in my wildest dream, I knew at the time that there would be some kind of event happening in there, but I didn't know that there should be also channeling. And in this moment, I had a brain fart, or how to say it, I was blank. And as my energy was so open in a way, something took over me. I felt energy entering my energy field or my body even, and I started to shake and vibrate, and my body was experiencing like a stress because I was sweating when I am under stress, and I was feeling these things like buy the kit, take it immediately, like very pushy and so on. And I was like, yeah, but why so much drama? I would buy it anyway. And so this took several minutes until I bought it, and then I had also like this opened me like my chakras. It was almost like they all connected in center of my body, and they opened like a stargate when you imagine like some circle or so oval, and on the other side it's not a mirror, but you can see that there is another world. I was seeing just something like this. I was not so much aware of my body or what was happening with me. I couldn't focus on my reality, and I was seeing through this into like a future of being at that event and so on. And I was experiencing also a lot of emotions, and I was crying, so it was pretty intense and wild. And then it had certain climax of the energy outburst out of me, and then I just kind of like woke up just alone myself, lying on the floor and staring and sailing and asking myself like what the fuck was that. I didn't get like unconscious or anything really, but suddenly in that moment I just was there and realized that finally my kind of like energy field and myself was just myself, not those vibrations that were in certain way like guiding me uh, or controlling me. I don't know. And so I was asking like, can Shayla do this with me and so on, like this strongly and that kind of stuff. And I didn't even want to think about Villa, but yeah, I had some thought of that also, but I didn't thought that we were actually so linked that she could be able to do this with me, because I never had this kind of strong experience. But now I know that it was her, according to also other stuff that happened that I will be talking about. So there were a few weeks until that event would happen, and from the download that I got from her, I was going through some really panic times, and like next 2 weeks after this, it's like I was completely unconscious, or how to say it. I was emotional eating, I guess, and I was different person. After this, I also had a problem to open for them in those energetic intimate ways when I'm fully awake. And this was the first time when I was using weed in a negative way, that I was doing it because I was not able to open myself or something. So it was not for spiritual reasons of growing, but to have something that I was not able to have. And each time I had it, it helped me. But as I was saying last video or last part that I had certain experiences that gave me a lot of pain in my back. After each time I had this experience with the weed and letting their energy again run through me, but not even that strong. After each time I allowed their energy in me, I was doing this because I needed some proof that this is really happening or it happens to me. But after each time I let that energy through me, it's amplified that pain, and I was having a lot of pain also during the sleep, and I was barely moving. It was really horrible pain that I had in my back. It was like left part of my back was completely inflamed, so I was barely moving. But of course I was also working, so I had to go to work and stuff. I finished those 2 weeks by eating pizza, so I took it that far. And I was asking myself, what the fuck am I doing? Because in that kind of like a food, of course, emotional and stuff, it's not healthy for me. And it was amplifying also those pains in my back. I also talked through Facebook chat with my one friend that I don't speak that often with, but she has great energy, and I realized that I was all the time in a panic mode. Although I was like not feeling that panic, I was just in some completely different state that even that emotional eating, I felt, yeah, it's completely fine, it's completely normal. At the same time, I somehow disconnected from it, from that story that it was happening to me, that I was not admitting to myself what was happening to me or something in that sense. So then I wanted to do something about it. Then next night I woke up at 3 a.m. and I was feeling the energy. Well, I first thought that it was Shayla who woke me, but immediately I felt different energy that I identified as a male entity of that other channeler who is channeling also Willa. And so it was surprising to me. And next day I sit down to meditation and called Shayla, Willa, and this other male entity to support me. So in whatever I needed to process. Shayla was next to me and also Willa, and this other entity was in front of me in an energetic way. I was doing this also through visualization, but I felt as I allowed that other entity, I felt energy in my heart and also third chakra in similar way that I was also feeling Willa, so that was also interesting. And then I started to have visions of the other entity, so after that I decided to draw him, and it helped me to balance my energy. And after that I was like, yeah, okay, so what? I am connecting with this being, shapeshifter, whatever it is, kind of like a famous or whatever, and she is probably connected in very special way with me, so yeah, whatever, so after that I decided to just accept it, and it helped me to do this, to use this permission slip. So what? So after this, I decided to eat just raw food because that's the best food for me, and I wanted to do it so I could stop my back pains, and it really helped. I was still feeling that I had this node in my back, there, the blockage, but it was not causing me pain. And yeah, then I was getting more stable and so on, and continuing in a healthy way. And it was just, I don't know, very soon to that event, and there something happened again that I will continue in another part.